I'm in a place that's undisclosed because it's a very good dump supposedly, but I just found this on the surface. It's not very old, and I'm actually just looking for the dump because I have information about approximately where it is. I'm having a hard time finding it right now, but I did find this sticking out of the ground where a tree fell over. So this isn't nearly as old as the dump though, because the dump is supposed to be 1911 to 1921. Okay, we are back at the Goldsboro dump. I haven't been here for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years because it's pretty much wiped out. But I have a bottle showing up right here. It seems like it's intact. What? That's from the late 40s or early 50s. I know there's this early 60s layer in here, but I didn't know there was a late 40s layer in here as well. But I'm pretty sure that underneath that it's going to be 1910 to 1920. Okay, there we are. These are from 1908 to about 1912. It's the Punchinello. If you saw my videos from a few years ago, then you noticed I found a whole lot of these. Of course, most of them were broken, but at least we're on the right track to the right age. Okay, there's a Goldsboro Pepsi. You can tell by that line above Goldsboro. That is the bottom of the script of the Pepsi, and it looks like a very early one too, like about a 1907. Well, that looks like a Mountain Dew bottle. That is very modern, but it was down there deep. So this is very confusing. It's got 1908 stuff to 1920 stuff, all the way up to 1965 or maybe even 1970. Okay, it looks like we got an early piece here. It's a Coca-Cola straight tide, blown in a mold. What city is it from? Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Well, that is an early piece, and it is definitely mixed in with that newer stuff. So again, I am severely confused by this. I mean, it's only a 2-foot hole. Like Brandon always says, it'll make a great double shot for a whiskey glass. You know, he got the idea for making all those glasses from me, and I haven't even sold a single one. I have about 200 glasses at home, just waiting for the economy to be better, which it never gets better. Well, I just broke the side out of this bottle because it's so thin, and because I was kind of impatient, and because the ground is so hard, it's so clayish. And it's actually a blown in the mold one too, but I probably have 3,000 of these already, so it's okay. I didn't even get here till after 3 o'clock because I was actually hiking about 5 miles looking for bottle dumps. I mean, I was out there for 5.5 hours walking. Didn't actually find anything. Well, I did find a 1950s landfill. Okay, we got a bottle here. I can't even tell how old it is. I can't even tell if it's 1920 or 1950 or 1960. Well, since it has a caseware ring, I'm going to think it's probably from the 50s or 60s. Oh yeah, it's from the 60s, alright. And it's literally 1 inch above bottles from 1910. Well, that's an old piece there. Crockery jug, 1900 to 1915, I'd say. Well, there's a big shard that's embossed. What does it say? Sure is taking a long time to get this clay to come off of there. Meyer Pitts and Company, Baltimore. Now that is a flask that is from about 1905. I don't think I've ever seen one quite like it. I've seen Pitts, but not Meyer and Pitts. So that would have been a first for this channel. Okay, there's some shards of crockery, probably jugs. We got one of these. Something other than a jug. It has a wide top. I don't know if it'd be a butter crock or some kind of food product anyway. So many pieces of crockery in this haul, it's crazy. And now I just found a grayish one that has a grayish tint to it. I don't know why there's so many crocks in here. It's getting hard to dig because there's so many giant chunks of that stuff in the way. Well, I finally found a whole bottle. It's an ink bottle and it's probably over 100 years old anyway, because the shape of it is a little bit different than any I've ever found before. Well, there's a fancy flask piece. You very rarely find that kind. Well, there's a nice aqua strap-sided flask shard anyway. But that's it. This hole is done for. Okay, I've located another hole just about 7 feet away from that other one. It feels like it's got potential, so let's open it up and have a look. Yeah, we're in Goldsboro. Okay, we have an early top here. Blown in a mold. So that's looking good. Hopefully we'll find a few intact. I keep finding material, clothing that's still intact. I don't understand it. I guess it must be from the 60s. But what's this? Interesting. Okay, it's a Punchinello, another shard of that. Well, 1968 Pepsi, that's great. But I have an embossed shard. It's a gross, tasteless chill tonic. I don't know if you can read it because it's got so much mud on it. Well, there's a nice early flask, or what's left of it. That is definitely about 1908 or even older. Okay, we got some coming out at the very bottom. It's probably going to be a beer. No, it's actually a very old bottle. It's got sort of a blob top. Yeah, that is definitely early 1900s. But it's, of course, unembossed. I don't know if any of these are ever embossed. Okay, now that's a pretty early piece right there. Definitely early 1900s. And we just found an intact bottle, but it's just a slick little bottle. Probably only worth $1. It's filling up with water. I don't know why this hole is so different than the last one. Okay, we got a strap-sided flask. Well, a piece of one anyway. There's actually 2 or 3 kinds of embossed whiskeys from this town, and I've never found any of them. Never even found a piece of one. But this could be a piece of one because the embossed side would be right here. Okay, we got another piece. A puzzle piece, I should say. Can you name this bottle? It has that distinctive imprinted section on the bottom, which is the only bottle I've ever seen that has that, so you should be able to tell just by that. But I'm not going to tell you what the name of it is because I can't even remember right at the moment. But I've definitely found 8 or 9 of them over the years. Finally, an embossed one that's intact, but it has very weak embossing on it. You can barely read it. Yeah, it's a French gloss. It's embossed on this side. Whitmore, Boston. Shoe polish, fairly common. So maybe it's worth $4. Okay, there we got a crown top of some kind. What the heck? It's obviously from the late 60s. It looks like a Mountain Dew no deposit, but it doesn't have that embossed on it. But it's definitely 1967 to 1973 era. Okay, I got something. Hopefully it won't break. It's embossed. It's just a patent medicine, but it looks like a damn old one. Dr. King's new discovery for what's for I should know it. I found enough of these for consumption. Dr. King's new discovery for consumption. I don't remember it saying consumption after that, but it has been a number of years since I found one of these. So that's a pretty decent bottle. I might be able to get $7.50 for that. Okay, we got something. It looks like it might be intact. Apparently not. It's a blob top beer with a lady's leg neck. So that is definitely very old. Okay, we got my possible soda. Of course it's broken, but it could still be worth something. And underneath that we have something else. So it's broken. Okay, we got it. It looks like a piece of a beer because it's too wide to be a soda, but no embossing on this one. Okay, it looks like we got a soda. It feels like it might be intact. Oh, dang it. What? An ACL? I was so expecting an older 1910 era bottle. Well, this shard is quite probably a bitters bottle, or what's left of it. There's a lot of broken pieces in here, but very few intact. Well, it turned out it was a pain celery compound. Very much looks like a bitters. Okay, that is it. I have had enough of this hole. Well, I'm pretty much finished with it. I just didn't tunnel it as much as I usually tunnel holes, but it's just so muddy and I'm just so tired. So until next week.